TopSoup4ED apa. Kana musina kunaka chingouya munokavhirwa nevamwe.
Good evening, Zimbabwe, and welcome to another episode of Who Looted It Better. Tonight's feature is a steaming bowl of political soup, freshly served with lipstick, loyalty, and a sprinkle of hypocrisy. Good evening. Ladies and gentlemen, meet TopSoup4ED, the latest addition to the ruling party's ever-expanding buffet of 4ED clubs where empowerment meets eyeliner and politics meets perfume. For those keeping score, we have already had teachers for ED who promised to write loyalty in chalk, nurses for ED who injected patriotism into their veins, Mawindi for ED who honked their devotion at bus ranks, Rastas for ED, artists for ED, and young women for ED, as well as pastors for ED, all claiming to be inspired by Vision 2030, but somehow every vision ends at a donor's pocket. And now, as if politics wasn't theatrical enough, we have TopSoup4ED, a dazzling display of wigs, filters, and political ambition served hot on social media. They say their goal is to celebrate national achievements and uplift women through empowerment and unity. Beautiful words, but when translated from ZANU-PF dialect to ordinary Shona, it simply means, we love the president, please notice us. Because if we are being honest, the only thing being uplifted so far are photo angles and Instagram likes. When the group first appeared online, many Zimbabweans thought it was satire. But like all things in Zimbabwean politics, the joke somehow becomes policy. Behind the glam filters lies a very familiar smell, the scent of money that no one can quite trace. Sources whisper about campaign funds being laundered through shiny empowerment projects that exist mainly on camera. Empowerment, but make it photogenic. Patriotism, but with contour and ring light. In a country where hospitals don't have paracetamol, we now have influencers fighting for national image with imported makeup kits. And let's not pretend this is new. The 4ED brand has become a franchise of flattery. Everyone is running their own branch. Teachers for ED, doctors for ED, lawyers for ED, rastas for ED, each one hoping for their turn at the buffet table. It's like a political pyramid scheme, loyalty at the bottom, access to power at the top. The entire empire runs on one golden rule. If you can't chant, pause, or hashtag for ED, there might just be a plate waiting for you at the high table. The irony is almost poetic. Instead of fixing the economy, the government has discovered the cheaper route: make poverty fashionable, replace policy with photoshoots, replace governance with gimmicks, replace accountability with attention. Why fix hospitals when you can sponsor hashtags? Why build industries when you can build followers? And somewhere in the middle of this glittering nonsense sits TopSoup4ED, claiming to be the face of youth empowerment while perfectly capturing the face of a failing state that has learned to survive on PR and perfume. Now, here is where it gets rich, literally. Every time someone asks where these groups get their money, the answer is private donors. Nobody ever explains who these private donors are or why they seem to have infinite generosity for anything that's for ED. The public know who these donors are. They are those who loot our economy. Critics believe these are just recycled patronage funds, state money disguised as private support. And in Zimbabwe, that's the oldest trick in the corruption cookbook. What started with Varakashi for ED has now become a pandemic in Zimbabwe. Meanwhile, the women who actually need empowerment, The ones running backyard hustles, selling tomatoes, sewing uniforms, walking miles to fetch water are nowhere near the limelight. The real queens of survival are invisible, while the slay queens of empowerment collect selfies and sponsorships. It's not women's empowerment, it's political cosmetology, a makeover for a system that refuses to change. And let's not forget how these movements operate. They are not built on ideology or community service. They are built on visibility. The more you post, the more you pose, the closer you get to the gatekeepers of power. Politics has officially become a fashion show. The liberation struggle used to be about sacrifice. Now it's about selfies. The only trenches today's activists know are comment sections. Even within ZANU-PF, not everyone is buying it. Some old guard loyalists say these groups are embarrassing the party, turning patriotism into parody. But the leadership doesn't seem to mind. After all, it's free marketing, and as long as someone is chanting ED fair in a glitter dress, the optics look good on TV. You don't have to silence dissent if you can drown it out with noise. And TopSoup4ED is a very noisy distraction. In a twisted way, it's brilliant. Zimbabweans love spectacle. The government has mastered the art of serving entertainment instead of accountability. Give the people gossip, color, and a scandal every week, and they will forget to ask about fuel prices. The citizens laugh at the circus while the clowns count the money in the background. The tragedy, however, is that this kind of politics eats the soul of a nation. It teaches young people that loyalty pays better than innovation, that appearance matters more than substance, and that as long as you are beautiful and politically correct, someone somewhere will call it empowerment. What we are witnessing isn't women rising. It's the commercialization of compliance. So, yes, Zimbabwe, TopSoup4ED may be trending. Who is funding this soup? Is it empowerment? Or is it another creative pipeline for looted cash to circulate in planes? When every new 4ED group looks more like a startup in psychophancy than a movement for progress. We have to admit that the revolution has been rebranded. From struggle to selfie, from courage to cosmetics. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the real Vision 2030. Not economic transformation, but political transformation into content creation. A country where everything is for clout and nothing is for change. So next time someone tells you about empowerment through TopSoup4ED, ask them what's on the menu. Because from where we are sitting, it looks like the elites are eating, the youths are clapping, and the nation is starving. And the ZANU-PF bigwigs have now a club where they can pick small houses. This is Zimwaves TV, the only platform that serves the kind of soup that burns corruption and tastes like accountability. Subscribe now, because here we don't just stir the pot, we spill it.